Hi, welcome to Board Game Bite. Today we are taking a look at Wonderland's War from Druid City Games.
So when we say taking a look at it, we've already taken several looks at it. We love playing this game, and so we wanted to provide you a little bit of our feedback on it. Have to start and just give such tremendous kudos to James Hudson, who's designed this game. This is one of the most awesomely designed. I just, yeah, I don't even know where to start. The components, the artwork, the game, the board. It's cool. It's really
It's
cool.
it's beautifully, ridiculously overproduced in the most wonderful way.
Yeah.
So just in a nutshell, this is an Alice in Wonderland themed game, and it's played in two phases. There's a tea party phase where you're building your war chest, we'll just say, and then there's a second phase where you're actually battling for Wonderland. And I'm going to just spoil it right now and say this has quickly moved to one of my top five games.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic, fantastic game.
Yeah. So this is set kind of in a dystopian wonderland,
Yeah,
maybe is the
yeah,
correct way to look at it, where things have kind of fallen apart after Alice has, gone through the looking glass, and there are five main areas within Wonderland that you are trying to battle for control over
hmm
to, um, you know, win the war for Wonderland.
right.
You're playing as one of five notable characters from the Alice in Wonderland world. Alice herself, the Queen of Hearts, Cheshire Cat, the Mad Hatter, or the Jabberwocky. Jabberwocky! Jabberwocky!
And This is a bag building game. So you are adding, when I say adding to your war chest, you're adding these chips, these wonderful tactile chips. If you get please get the deluxe edition. Please hope you spring for the deluxe edition if you can do it. It is worth it because those chips feel delightful.
I do.
But like any bag building game, it's a push or luck thing, and you could go bust and lose the whole war. But I love that mechanism.
Yeah, so when you're first starting out, right? So when you're looking at the Tea Party phase, it's really kind of cleverly designed because in addition to building up your warriors and building up, your strength, there's also madness involved.
Of course,
And
there's madness involved.
and in the Tea Party, one of the things that you might wind up doing is have to roll to add madness to your bag. Madness, although it's fun in my world, it's not good in Wonderland's War
Yeah,
necessarily. So
yeah, it'll cause you to
go mad.
go mad, start over,
Yeah, it will cause you to bust in your, um,
and you'll lose supporters in your wars. Is what will happen, which is
yeah,
bad.
absolutely. But the cool thing with the Tea Party phase is it's in its own way your own press your luck kind of thing too, where you have to determine, weighing out. Everybody has the same cards available to them, and deciding, do you pass over some of the other ones to jump to this one's really good, but push yourself closer to adding in more madness? It really is kind of weighing out the risk and reward of taking those cards, and
The five characters also each have their own unique abilities, and even at the tea party, they each have a unique ability. So that's fun. So that really adds to the variability of this game because each time you play, if you play a different character, you're playing a completely different game. And what I've found is that there's not like one great strategy for to follow for any of these. So it's fun to try different things. This is one of those games that I find myself obsessed with later when I lose, because I lose. And I think, how could I have done that differently? I keep going back, thinking about it, and wanting to play it again so I could try something new.
yeah, I like the asymmetrical powers between each of
hmm
them. It's really um, thoughtfully done. The other nice thing too is actually when you go to the war stage, there's some asymmetry there as well too, right? So the victory points for each of the battles changes every single game.
Yeah.
So you're not fighting for, oh, this is the best area to go in. The other really cool thing is the supporters that you build in war. There are various different chips that you can add in, and they've done this so well for replayability. there is, a set number of supporters. However, there's a version A, version B,
Yeah.
version C, and so on.
There's 5 different ones, I think. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Because that totally changes the game too, because all the chips mean a totally different thing, just by flipping over a card or swapping out the card.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good point.
It's really nicely done. So there's no, to your point, there's no necessary winning strategy with this, because the gameplay is going to be different every single time you play.
Yeah.
And each of the factions, if you will, plays off of each other differently.
Yeah.
So you really have to kind of, now the other really nice thing is you get to pick where you're sending your troops for battle.
Yeah.
So you may have a strategy, but the next player may say, I'm shipping all my troops in here, and you're forced to battle with them when you send 2 people under support that.
Yeah. So the turn order can really matter. Going after somebody and you can get surprised.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
The only caution I would give, there's only one caution I would give this game, and it's a minor one, but I have to say, is if you've got to have a decent sized table. Because the board itself, I was not prepared for how big the board was. It's big, beautiful, gorgeous, and huge. It's big. And then each player also has their own player board, which are a decent size as well. You've got these gorgeous bags they come with, which get the characters on them. And then you've got to have a place, to set out the extra chips and stuff. So you need a decent sized table in order to accommodate that. That's the only thing I would just make sure you have enough room for it.
Yeah.
For all of the wonderfulness that's in Wonderland's work.
Yeah, and so the last thing that I want to talk about is, so we talked about, you have your faction and your supporters. One of the other things that you can get in addition to supporters and madness in the Tea Party phase is Wonderlandians. And Wonderlandians are these allies that go out, and you can assign them to any territory to help you in battle.
All different little figures for them too.
The figures for them, are just incredible. I mean, and again, they're all based on, folks from the Alice world, and they're really impressive. I'm really, really happy. The artwork on the cards is just
it's
stunning. I keep going back to the components, but it's just such a beautiful game.
So this is one of the games that after we bought it, I went back and I loved it so much. I went back and bought more stuff because I loved it so much. And I wanted to recommend these highly. These are little colored rings that you can buy. They're worth the extra cost. And these go underneath those supporters that you're talking about, your characters. Because sometimes it's hard to tell on the board, like, whose supporters are those? So you can color code them with those rings. So I recommend getting those. I also spent more money on these dice. On your player boards, there's a place to record your leader strength.
Yeah.
And doing it with a die is much easier and cleaner rather than moving this little thing around. So I recommend if you have a different colored die, you could just use those too. But I wanted the fancy ones. So I do recommend springing for that too when you're looking at purchasing it.
Yeah. Absolutely. So we play this. The nice thing too is we've played this at 2 players. We played this at 4 players, and it played well at any player count. We really enjoyed it, just because the variability is there.
I never felt like I was just waiting for my turn. I was always interested in what was happening. It's fun. It is a very cutthroat competitive game, but to me the lighthearted aspect of it makes it more pleasant. You're being bloodthirsty, but in Wonderland.
There's a good amount of strategy with it, but it is competitive. And so that is the one thing I would say, if you are somebody who does not enjoy competitive games, this is
war is in the title. That should be your first clue. War is in the title.
But look at the kitty cat.
But it's a nice little kitty cat. I bought the shirt too. I had to buy the shirt too. I love it so much.
There you go.
So if you can't tell, we love Wonderland's War.
We highly encourage you to go check it out and spring for the upgrades. It's worth it.
Happy gaming.
Ciao.